Welcome back to our channel. Today my mom's going to show you my 6th grade math curriculum.
Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to go ahead and share with you what my son will be using for the 2019-2020 school year. He will be, or is, in the 6th grade. And in the 6th grade, we are doing pre-algebra along with any middle school math that he may need a refresher on. During his 5th grade year, we did middle school math where we focused on fractions and decimals and percents and basic foundational math to include a little bit of pre-algebra concepts. I will link right here on a card, right here, look up, where you can click and find out what we used for his 5th grade year if you have not already watched that video. But today, let's dive in and look at what we'll be using for his 6th grade year. So if you look at my last video or my previous videos from 2018, 2019, I told you guys that we were going to do Saxon Math, Algebra 1/2, which is basically pre-algebra, right? But like I told you, my son was just not into this curriculum. He said it was too much of a spiral approach. It was boring, too many problems. The explanation of how to do the work wasn't as thorough or detailed as he wanted. Many times he had to go online and find out or get more information on how to solve a problem or how to understand it better. So although I think Saxon Math is wonderful, I think it's great foundational math. I think spiral math works great with children. My humble opinion, everyone may not agree. Some people hate Saxon. My son seems to be one of those people. I still think it's a great curriculum. I'm going to keep it in my homeschool for my other kids, but we're not going to use this curriculum. I'm not going to use art of problem solving as well. That was my deal. If you look at the card, there's a card somewhere on the left or right side right now of this video on top. I'm going to link a video that explains the art of problem solving and why we are not using that for his 6th grade year. I was super disappointed, but my son was like, "Mom, I'm not having it. I don't learn that way. This whole learning through chat and not having the opportunity to speak to someone and not be able to hear what's going on, it's just not for me. I won't be successful." I said, "All right, son, no problem." The program, Art of Problem Solving, or the company, they also offered actual courses, physical classes. You can actually go in and sit in and have an instructor. But dang, those classes were expensive. And I said, I'm not about to do that because that's like my whole budget for the entire school year. And I'm not about to spend that on one pre-algebra math class. So we said no to that. Okay, so where does that leave us? As you guys know, I am big on math and big on science in our homeschool. So what we decided to use is this thick curriculum here called Pre-Algebra and Introductory Algebra. This is going to go through Pre-Algebra and a little bit of Algebra 1, getting the children's or the students' feet wet into what they're about to step into that following year. This program is by Elaine Martin Gay. I got this off of either Amazon or eBay, and I want to say it was maybe $20 or $30, maybe even less. It also comes with a DVD. The DVD is basically an instructor teaching certain problems. So in the book where you have your problems, let me see if I can quickly show you. So in the book, when you see something like this here, that means go to the DVD and the teacher is going to show you how to do that particular problem. And then you should be able to work the remainder of problems based on what was taught. Okay. This book, I think, is advanced. I love it. I think it's extremely detailed. It explains it beautifully. And my son loves it so far. Book here. This will take us about 13 months, maybe 14 months to complete if we actually complete it within in its entirety. If you know anything about me, when it comes to math and when it comes to science, we dive deep into those two subjects. We spend a lot of time in those subjects, and my son does a lot of independent work on those two or in those two subjects. And that's because our homeschool is STEM or STEAM based: science, technology, engineering, mathematics, or STEAM: science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. My son is showing interest in the area of engineering, and he's showing interest in the area of business. So I've decided within our homeschool, I'm going to ensure that my son has the minimum foundations that's needed. So wherever he decides to go in life, he will have what he needs in terms of being prepared to be successful in the science and in the math arena if he chooses to go that route. Of course, things can change as the child gets older and they, go through some courses. What they may want to do will drastically change potentially. But for our homeschool, we made the decision that our homeschool is going to be college bound. That doesn't mean that the child has to go to college. They will make that decision based on where they want to be and what they want to do, of course, with discussion with mom and dad. However, I don't want anyone to tell my child that they are not prepared or they don't have what they need in order to be accepted into any school that they want. So that's why, again, we hit the math and sciences hard to include the life skills and electives. Okay, but that's a different video. Back to the math. So this is by K. Elaine Martin Gay. I got this off of, I want to say, Amazon or eBay for about $20. This is an old edition. This edition that I have here also includes a DVD where, for certain examples, and they will let you know in the book when to go to the DVD, it's an actual teacher giving you instruction on how to complete that practice problem or that example, and then you can take what you learned and do the rest of the problems, which I thought was cool. But for math within our home, I like to teach it. I like to get on the board. I like to have a discussion. I like to show him how to do it, get his input. Again, have him narrate. We do copy work because he has to write what I put on the board within his math notebook. So we are very interactive when it comes to math. Look up right now on the right or left-hand side for another card where you will see a few videos on how I teach math. And the lessons that I'm teaching this year, his 6th grade year, is actually coming from this book here. Okay? So again, this is the book that we're using for math as our core. Let me show you the table of contents. Another reason why I like this book is because it dives straight into the pre-algebra. It's not doing a big review like Saxon Math, like the first 30 chapters out of the 120 or 130, the first 30 chapters, which is probably the first month and a half, you are focused on, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, things that you did prior to, pre-algebra. However, in this book, only chapter 1 gives you a review of your basic multiplication, addition, fractions, percents, and things of that nature. Everything else dives into algebra itself. So here's and again, as you can see, it does go over fractions, decimals, and percents, because in pre-algebra, guys, you want to make sure that your student has a firm foundation. Okay? And that's what we did. Although, my son forgets stuff, that's okay. I did ensure that he had a firm foundation in the basic concepts. Okay, I'm just going to keep showing you the table of contents. Okay, so this is the book, again, that's we're using as our core. So let's look at a random chapter. I'm also going to do a review comparing this book to a few other curricula that I was considering, and some that we're actually using, so that you can kind of see how they compare in terms of how they explain the work. So here's a typical example, provides an introduction, gives you a pre-test to see what you know already. So when my son takes the pre-test, if he gets a certain score, being an A, we skip the chapter, but I just do a quick review. If he doesn't make an A, we go through the chapter like normal. So here, again, they give you an introduction. I think they explain it beautifully. They break it down. They give you concept checks. They give you practice problems. They give you the answers to the practice problems. Again, they give you examples, more examples, more examples. Very thorough. Sometimes they give you a brief history lesson if it relates to the topic at hand. And then you have some mental math on top. Then you have some exercises. Again, when you see a DVD, it means go to the actual DVD or CD-ROM that they provide. It's a CD-ROM, and you can actually see the teacher teaching it, and you can move on from there. So you have visual instruction, and you also from a teacher, and then you have instruction from the reading itself. They give you a lot of problems. So if you can see, starting with, let's say 1 after mental math, look how many problems. We're at 80 so far. 94 problems. I'm not giving my son 94 problems. He's probably going to get 20 to 30 problems. And with that, he will get a day or two, more likely 2 days to complete it. He normally completes it all in one day and then goes back and double checks it the next day. Or he can do, half in one day, double check it, and then do the other half the next day and double check. It's totally up to him. And then you can go on to the next lesson. At the end of every chapter, you have a review and you have a test. So here's an example of a cumulative review. So my son would do the cumulative review. Not all the problems. I would select problems, more than likely the odd problems. And then he would have a test. So let me go back and explain this again. So I said that wrong. He would have a chapter test. The chapter test is the chapter he's on. So this example is chapter 3. Everything you learned in chapter 3, here's a review. Again, we do a few of these. He's probably getting 15 to 20 problems in a review. After the review, which we also use as a study guide, he will then have a chapter test. Okay, he will do all the problems in the chapter test. It's about 20, 25, depending on the chapter. Okay, chapter test. If we're on chapter 3, everything you learned, here's your test. And then the cumulative review is everything from all the chapters you've learned and up until the current chapter. So in this case, chapter 1 and chapter 2, we have a cumulative review. There's a cumulative review that summarizes or spirals through everything you learned in the prior chapters after every single chapter. And for this, we use this as a review as well. So how I do it is he does his chapter review, give him a few problems. This is his study guide. He does his test on a different day for that chapter. And then depending on how he does on the test, we will do the cumulative review, focusing on the area that he did not master. So let's say he got a few problems wrong on, the chapter test and or the review. I would go ahead and provide him some additional problems to do from the cumulative review, also spiraling in what he has learned from the prior chapters. I will either do it orally, we will do it together, we will do it on the board. Regardless, we end up doing all three things before we move on to the next chapter. Okay, so that's how we're using this book. I think it's great. I think it's thorough. I have not seen this in any other homeschool curriculum review, and I decided to go ahead and stick with something that is actually used in public and private schools. In addition to that, we are doing Learn Math Fast. I created a video for Learn Math Fast. If I have not already dropped that video, look for it soon. This curriculum, guys, like I said in the video, if I knew about this curriculum before, when my son was in traditional school, enrolled in school full time, we would have absolutely used this curriculum. It's awesome. So we are doing levels or volumes 1 through 4. He already did volume 1, which is like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, your basic 2nd through 4th grade math. He did that, flew through it in 1 month during the month of June 2019. So we're currently working on book 2, and book 3 is actually pre-algebra. Let me go ahead and show you that table of contents. So we'll spend about 3 months per book. But again, to find out what's within these actual books, I will ask you to please refer back to the video about Learn Math Fast. I go into great detail. This is not only wonderful for homeschooling children, but it is also great for after schooling. If your kid is enrolled in school full time, guys, this curriculum is awesome. It's great to even prepare you for the GED. It will prepare you for the SAT, ACT, a college placement test. It prepares you if you go from book 1 all the way through 7. There are 7 volumes in this curriculum or program. You will be prepared for those things. You can do it within a year, year and a half. So that's what we're using. These are the 2 that we're using for the 2019-2020 school year. In addition to this, we are going to continue using our math resources, which are Life of Fred. For Life of Fred, we are doing decimals. We are doing the percent book. Well, no, it's called fractions. We're doing the fractions book. We're doing the decimal book. And we're doing the Pre-Algebra 0. So for Pre-Algebra, Life of Fred has 3 series. Pre-Algebra 0, 1, and 2. And they coincide with chemistry, biology, and physics. So I thought that was pretty cool. So we're doing 0. I think that coincides with biology. And we'll do the other 2 in the summer of my son's 7th grade year. So once we're done with 6th grade and before we hit 7th grade, we may be doing Algebra 1 or geometry, or we may be doing it together. I just don't know how I want to do that, because some schools, they do geometry first and then they do Algebra 1. And in some schools, public schools or private or charter, and some allow their kids to do it together, or some do Algebra 1 first and then geometry. I don't know the order in which I'm going to take. I'm not sure. But regardless, I want to do Pre-Algebra 1 and 2 from Life of Fred as a refresher before we hit Algebra 1, assuming we do geometry first. Hope that makes sense. So again, we'll be using these 2 along with Life of Fred, along with our Ed Zakara book. I will put a link above. Look right now to the left or right, not sure where, but look for a link where I will link what I mean by Ed Zakara in his challenge math books. And I did a video, I don't know if I posted it already, with Life of Fred. I did a review of that program. If I already dropped it, I'll go ahead and link it to this video so you can check it out. Look on the card above, or it may be in the description box. But if I haven't dropped it, look for that video as well. So that's our math. Oh, I forgot to tell you, because my son loves math online. He used to use Beast Academy, when we were doing Beast Academy last year. We're done with Beast Academy. He finished it in the summer, but level 5. So when we were doing Beast Academy, I got the Beast Academy online for him, and then he was doing something called Prodigy online, the free account for Prodigy. So he liked that kind of stuff. So I did get him teaching textbooks, guys. Yep. Along with these two, again, these two are our core. I did get teaching textbook, and he loves it. Teaching textbooks, because I got a great deal for the 3.0 online version. You know, when he's bored, when he has nothing to do, or he can't use his electronics, or, you know, if he's grounded and he's like, I need something to do, Mom, please, I'm bored out of my mind. And he doesn't want to, you know, draw or use Legos or build or paint. If he doesn't want to do those things, then he really goes to teaching textbooks, and he just goes along and uses that as practice. I'm not utilizing the test I'm not utilizing the test to give him a grade or anything. I'm not grading him on it. It just gives him an opportunity to do some online practice. And I told him, if you're not getting an A on whatever you're doing, all the lessons and the test, if you're not getting an A, although I'm not tracking it in my grade book, you need to go back and do it and figure out what you're doing wrong. But it works great, and it coincides with what we're learning within Learn Math Fast and this pre-algebra book here. So I hope this video was oh wait, I forgot to mention. So like I said, this is our core. He will read the problems from here, the examples, the practice problems, and do it. Same with this. It's easy, easy, easy. I'll also teach from this book. I will teach and instruct from this book using the practice problems and examples, but I also teach from this book. This is another pre-algebra book where they integrate algebra, pre-algebra, and geometry. And the reason why I like this book here is because if we're going to do geometry after pre-algebra, or if we're going to do geometry alongside Algebra 1, again, I'm not sure which way I want to do it, this book will absolutely help, because it helps create links for the child between algebra and geometry. So when I say I will teach from it, I'm going to use their examples. I'm going to use their language in communicating with him. I will, when I say communicating with him, I will use their verbiage and language when they explain how to do a problem. I'm utilizing this book here to teach him concepts from. I will also use this book to teach him concepts from. We'll do examples on the board from this book, and then he will do the examples and test from this book as independent work, and he will use this as complete independent work. I hope that makes sense. I teach from this. I teach from this. We do practice problems from here together on the board on our instructional days during using this book. This book, again, I teach from it. He does his assignments, his independent work. I assign him work to do from here. I grade it. He gets a grade for it. He does his quizzes from this book, his reviews from this book, his tests from this book. This book here is straight independent work, and I use these as assignment grades as well. So the work he's turning in from this book, I'm grading it. He's getting a grade actually for the purpose of tracking as well from this book, but this is straight independent work. Easy, easy, easy. This here, our main curriculum, comes with a separate solutions manual, not just an answer key, but a solutions manual where it's almost as thick as this, where it solves every single problem step by step, which is another plus for this curriculum here. Let me show you the ISBN number so you can take that down. And it's by Pearson and Prentice Hall. This book here gives you an answer key. Well, an answer key / solutions manual. Answer keys normally just give you the straight answer. Solutions manual explains how they got the answer. So here is an example of the answer key. As you can see, this is just a straight answer key. Sometimes it gives you the solution step by step, and as you can see, step by step, and sometimes it just gives you the answer. I don't really like books that gives you the answer. The only missing component to this book here is, not being a complete solutions manual for every single question. See here, they break everything out. Perfect. They give you the perfect solution. I love it. That's what I like. That's what I'm looking for. I just don't want the answer, because once you get into, I would say, 5th grade math and up, you need to understand how to explain step by step how to solve every single problem and have your students solve them step by step. And you can quickly find out, and they can quickly find out why they got something wrong. Okay. So this is pretty good. It gives you I would say this is a solutions manual. Yeah. See here, although here I would have liked this to say exponential notation. 6 to the 6 cubed means 6 times 6 times 6. And I would have liked it to say 6 times 6 is 36. 36 times 6 is 216. That's how I would like for them to explain it. So this for me is an answer key, but for this to have been a solution showing incremental steps, it would have said what I just stated. Okay. That's it, guys. If you have any questions for me, please leave them in the comment box below. And also, just let you know, I use different math curriculum in our homeschool because I want my child to understand how to do math in various ways. There are different ways that math is explained, it's taught, and how you can solve the same problem. A different thought process, a different way of thinking about the problem in effort to solve it in a methodical way. Using different curriculum for me meets that goal. That's one of the goals that we have in our homeschool for math. And doing it this way and choosing curriculum that is a bit challenging and combining it with curriculum that is easy for the child to understand, like this or a Saxon, where the child can take it, go, and move on without being too challenged. Again, combining it with something that's a bit more challenging, along with like the Ed Zakara book, the Beast Academy from last year as an example. It meets my specific goal for my specific child. That may not work for you, and that's okay. Find what works for you. What are your goals for your child when it comes to math, as an example? What is the end goal? What are you trying to teach? What are you trying to drive? What do you want math to look like and feel like in your home? Are you STEM or STEAM based? Do you want challenge? What direction do you want to go into? Whatever your answer is, use that foundation, that homeschool foundation for the subject, whatever subject, math, language arts, history, whatever it is. Use your homeschool goals, your homeschool objectives for your child based on their learning style to figure out how you want to teach each subject, what you want it to look like, how you want to present it, and what materials, what curriculum or curricula do you want to use in order to meet the overall objective, the overall goals for each specific subject. I hope that helps. Hope that makes sense. Any questions? Leave them in the comment box below for me. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your subscription, your comments. I read them all. I try to reply within a day or two. Keep reaching out. I promise. If I can do anything to help you in your homeschool journey, just ask, and I will do my very best to do just that. Help and support you. As always, be blessed and make it a great day.